As friends, how's it going? Playing a quick game with one of my really good buddies, Kevin Knight here. 2:27 a.m. as you can see. So pretty wild. So Kevin is a very strong player. His peak rating, I believe, was close to 1900, and he's still in pretty good form, although he's coming out of a long retirement in chess like myself. So yeah, we've been studying together and have been playing quite a few practice games here and there. So this one should be exciting. So it looks like we've got a Queen's Gambit on the board here. And so depending on how Kevin responds here, I'm gonna go for um, the setup that I go for will really depend on what he does. So he plays the Slav against which I play the exchange variation these days. I'll exchange, play knight c3, bishop f4, g5. I'll then play e3, um, bishop d3, knight e2, castle, play for f3, e4 and some variations. If he had played e6, I would have gone for that. But since he played the c6 Slav variation to this exchange, then I'll probably go for a quick rook c1, knight a4, and knight c5. Just going to be my primary ideas here. So the goal here is to get the bishop out first, and then to play e3. So our light square bishop stays outside of the pawn chain. Notice a standard move like queen b6 here doesn't really work very well because I have knight d5. Normally, whenever this bishop wants to come out, like white's dark square bishop or black's light square bishop, there's always this unusual idea, typical idea with queen b6 or queen b3. Here, that does not seem to work. So Kevin goes for a line that's very interesting here with e5. So if I take it, he'll play d4. This is very interesting. And if I take with the bishop, he takes, I have an extra pawn on e5, but not the strongest of pawns. If I take it, he'll play d4. Then he's threatening some type of check maybe down the line. So I'm going to go ahead and play the most principled way and just take the pawn. Okay, sure enough, d4 does come on the board. So I've got a couple ideas here. Obviously, e4 is a great square for my knight because knight's headed to d6, where it's going to definitely see a lot of good possibilities. And here, obviously, there is this bishop b4 idea. After knight e4, bishop b4 check, knight to d2. He might play queen a5 type of stuff. There's all types of play possible here in this position. So we have to tread the waters quite carefully because there's definitely a lot of play from black. But we're up a pawn, and we're going to try to hang on to that pawn as much as we can. So I believe a couple of options exist. I'm just debating between knight b1 and knight e4. I'm pretty sure knight e4 is what I'm going to play, but I'm just looking at knight b1 as a possibility as well. Knight b5 probably doesn't work because the queen a5 check picks up the knight on b5. Let's go for the most natural move here, knight e4. I'm expecting bishop b4 check, after which I'll play knight to d2. And we will certainly be up a pawn, but we'll have quite a bit of... That's interesting. So he goes directly for bishop f5 here, which is interesting, but that does allow the knight d6 check here. So if I play knight d6 here, he takes, I take. I am maintaining a pawn on d6 at that point. He still does have the check. on a5 with the queen, to which maybe I can respond with queen d2 simply. I think knight d6 got to be the right idea here. Now we'll take it. So, I mean, I'm still a little underdeveloped. I mean, Black's gotten quite a few pieces out. He's got the knight and bishop developed. I've got just a bishop, but I do have an extra pawn on d6. That's going to be long-term strength. Hopefully, if I don't end up losing it, which there's many ways he can take that pawn. Knight e4, knight d6, obviously is one way. So I have to be careful. So immediately I can play knight f3 here, threatening the d4 pawn right away. To which I believe he has knight h4 type of stuff right away as well. Hitting the bishop, if bishop g3, knight takes, pawn takes, then queen takes d6, would defend the d4 pawn. E3 does seem like a solid bet here as well, just getting rid of that pawn and giving some protection to d6 with my queen additionally. And also it stops any kind of knight h5, but then there he has knight e4, to which we can respond with bishop g3, I believe. Yeah, so e3 I think might be the good way to do here. Also kind of opens up some some space for my bishop and king side to continue to develop. Oh, interesting. He gives a check now. Idea here. If queen d2, then knight b4 or something maybe is coming. I don't know. I'm pretty sure queen d2 is the only move here that I can play. He can trade queens and play knight e4, but I'm not sure if that's accomplishing a whole lot for him. I feel like he's probably going to play knight b4 or something here. I don't know. Yeah, he plays knight b4. So the idea is to give a check on something like c2, since the queen is pinned. So I could play rook c1 here, but then knight or queen can take on a hmm. This is an interesting position for sure. Rook c1, knight takes a2. Rook is active. Rook can go to c7. I think I would prefer to take that counterplay, but then here also there's a chance of just losing the exchange, though, isn't there? No, there's not. Rook c1, knight c2, rook takes, bishop takes doesn't work because queen is getting traded, and if queen takes first, then I take back with the rook. So I should be okay, I think. I mean, if he takes on a2, that's gonna be a bold move. Actually, he can't take on a2. What am I saying? Queen is hanging. And he can't take with the queen because knight is hanging, so both pieces are protected. So Rook c1 actually protects everything here, it looks like. So he'll probably castle, knowing him, his style here. He's gonna want to keep this pressure on me as much as possible and simply just castle away and maintain a strong strong position here where he's gonna be down a pawn but has some really good chances for some counterplay. But at this immediate moment, however, I am threatening to trade queens with him with a3, however. And once those queens come off the board, the defense in this position will be a lot easier, I believe. These are some of my ideas here. It's a cool little feature, annotations. Okay, so he immediately goes for this idea here now. Okay, so that's a wow, good move, honestly. It's a very nice move, as a matter of fact. Hmm. Yeah, there's a lot of tricky business going on here. This is wild that I got myself in this position. So the thing is that if I take on d4 in this position, knight c2 check or knight c6 check, the only move is b4. If he takes my queen, I take his queen. My queen doesn't even have any other spots to go to, really. That's the only move I can even make. Like, no other move really makes any sense in this position at all. I mean, I have to pretty much play this move. There's not really anything else to do. There's all types of nasty checks here in this position, discoveries. But I mean, every discovery, I have this move b4, which does hit the queen. And any kind of follow-up check with the queen would be basically queen takes b4, which I would recapture with my queen. So at the end of all this kind of stuff, he, I mean, thing is that he can play knight c6 before queen takes a2 as well. He's threatening mate on f2. That does give me some time to give a check at least on b5, e5, that kind of stuff. Oh, that's a really interesting check. Oh, that's a double check. Oh no, did I just miss something here? Oh my gosh, am I getting checkmated? Oh my goodness, this is rough. Oh wow. Yeah, this is looking really, really bad. Really bad. And I did not. Why did I not see this? That this is a double check. Man, this is bad. Just terrible position for me now. Got a full rook after king e2, king d1, then there's knight f2, and it's just a mess no matter how you look at it. Oh, goodness. Oh, wow. Just getting checkmated, actually. Only one move. Queen f2 is mate. Wow. All right, let's play another one. That was rough. We'll look at that here in a second. But maybe I can redeem myself in this game because that was just bad, bad, bad stuff. Disaster. Okay, so this is another Slav, or basically it's a Queen's Gambit, or I'm playing the Slav. Kevin and I play very similar openings, very similar positional styles as well. So we ended up typically playing very similar openings as well. And yeah, so it's gonna run into a Slav defense, obviously. And here, knight f3, I think is the main move. After which black will capture on c4, white will play a4, then black plays usually some type of e3 or something like that. Sometimes they even play knight e5 to try to get that pawn back. There's all types of ways to play against this Slav. Okay, so he chooses to take, which is interesting to me. Hmm, let's take with a c pawn. That's fine. So he's playing the same thing that I played against him, interestingly enough. So I'm thinking I'm going to opt for the g6, bishop g7 idea of here, of developing the pieces. But I have to be careful here to avoid any sort of knight b5 stuff. So let's start with g6 first. I will have to play a6 here very shortly after he plays maybe e3 or something. Just a good measures move to play to stop any kind of knight b5 business at some point down the line. Typically here, a6, bishop g7, castle, bishop f5, knight c6 are going to be some of the main moves here, this opening. So if castle's here, knight b5 does come on the board. I believe knight a6 should work. I'm gonna ignore that for a second. I'm just not convinced that knight b5 is like such a major threat. I don't know. It could be. I'm not sure, honestly. I think we're fine though. Okay, so knight c6, knight b5, bishop f5, knight c7, rook c8. There's really nothing happening there. So let's go for it. Let's just get these pieces out. That's a strange move. Don't know what the idea is, but on first glance, it seems like it's probably a waste of tempo, but let's just see. Maybe there has some deep ideas that I'm not aware of. Maybe he wants to play g4, g5 soon here. I don't know. The idea is. What I do know is that we got to get our pieces developed and moving and going for something here soon. So I'm debating if I want to play for some like rook e8 and e5 break, or what do I want to do here? Bishop f5 is a possibility here. If bishop e5, then he plays g4. Do I just come back and make him feel like it's probably what I'll do, honestly, because I'm not that convinced that bishop this g4 idea is gonna make sense because he's gonna have a hard time castling, I believe. Where is he gonna castle to, you know? And his pieces are not really well positioned for a kingside attack here. I feel like the bishop kind of being in the way and all this kind of stuff. I don't know. He might have something here, but I have full confidence that I can, you know, put some put some problems in there. So now here I'm threatening, not threatening, but one of my ideas is to play knight to b4 and then knight c2 or knight d3. Obviously, you can stop the idea in many different ways, but that's just something we want to keep in mind. So now that the bishop is out, there's also rook c8 coming, and then maybe potential for. Okay, so he just castles. So he's playing very quiet, normal chess here. I could play knight e4 here, but I feel like I'm not getting much out of that though. I think again, I want to stick with principled options as much as possible. So maybe my plan could be like rook c8, a6, b5, knight a5, knight c4, something like that, maybe. Rook e8 and e5 is obviously also an option. But then again, I do have to play with that isolated pawn on d5. That's definitely something to keep in mind. Let me just first see what he's going to do. Let's play rook c8 first. Let's just see. Next move, I have an option of playing on this queen side with this knight a5, knight c4 type of stuff, or I have an option of playing on the king side as well. Okay, so he right away opts for queen b3, putting pressure on b7. So we can play knight a5, of course. We can also play b6 simply. Both are logical moves here. However, b6 has the drawback I just realized. Bishop a6. In fact, a major drawback. Bishop a6, the rook is trapped. Rook a8, bishop b7. And I might as well just resign. I mean, I do have some play after that. Bishop b6, bishop a6, knight a5, or something like that. I mean, I guess I can try to save my queen, but I mean, it looks very complicated and very unnecessary. Let's just play simple chess. He attacked a pawn, I defend the pawn. And I'm hopefully going to be improving the position of my knight here soon with knight c4 one of these days soon. Okay, so queen here. Um, what shall I do here? Maybe he played knight d2 to stop any kind of knight h4, knight h5 type of stuff. I don't know. What can I do here? This is one of the things of this opening is that I don't really, it's hard to find a plan in this setup for black. Like, I just feel like what exactly is happening? Like, what's the plan? What's the ideas? I don't know. I don't know what to do in this opening. Like, it's just a very awkward, weird position for black. Like, there's no plans here to really implement. Um, I don't know. I just feel like I got to do something here, you know? So let's just go for some stuff. We can possibly play for like, I don't know, honestly. I'm not even sure what this idea of what I'm doing is really is, but if he doesn't take it for some reason, then I will definitely take on C3. Yeah, he took it. Bishop takes, knight takes, pawn takes G4 might be an issue because then after that, the E4 pawn is going to be hanging. Okay, so I'll take with the bishop, I guess. Now, I have some really terrible pawns here, but you know, maybe I could make some magic happen. I don't know. So now might be a good time to maybe play E6 and protect that pawn. Problem is with B6, rook C8, queen C8, queen E7 is there. I don't know. This is a very crappy position. Let's just say that. Maybe one way we can improve the position is to play a queen here. to d5 and give up the e7 pawn to try to activate the pieces. Because otherwise, I can't really see any ways to improve the position right now. Like this, I'm just very cramped, and the position sucks. It's just the honest reality of this. This position is terrible for black. Like I have nothing going for myself. I've got terrible pawn structure. My bishop on g7 sucks. My knight on a5 sucks. I mean, position is just bad. But let's see if we can create some play here with maybe one idea could possibly be to try to play a6, b5, knight c4. How I'll get all those moves in, I have no idea yet. Yeah, he took it. I could trade rooks and play queen a2. It's an option. I might just go for that, honestly. I don't know. I just feel like this position is just terrible. It's still, we don't have any play or anything. So now at least maybe I can activate the knight on a5, which has been sitting idly for this whole game. His rook is obviously more active now on c1, and I don't have a rook on the c file anymore. My rook is very passive. My bishop is still very, very passive on g1. Hasn't really seen any light of day. So the position still is terrible for black. But I mean, if I can coordinate the queen and knight to cause some counterplay on the b2 pawn or something like that, at least I am getting some play in the position. But right now, I'm getting nothing. Wow, it's an interesting move. Knight c6, queen b7. Doesn't make a lot of sense. Knight b3 is possible here. Or simple b6 might be safest. Knight b3, there's bishop c4. That's the problem. Those types of moves, yeah, that's a nasty move. Okay, so I can give a check. Bishop f1. Knight b3. Not even possible in that position. Just knight b3 right away. Bishop c4 runs into a check. I don't know. I just feel like I need to activate my pieces though. If I don't activate anything, then there's nothing happening here. I gotta get that bishop out of g1, g7 as well, because that bishop has done nothing on g7. The entire game is just sat there. So let's take this guy. If rook a7, queen e2 is there. Okay, so if he plays that. Oh goodness, am I losing the knight? Oh shoot. Mm, oh my gosh. Shoot. Yeah, I am losing the knight. That's annoying. Mm. Rook b7, queen rook c8 is there. Maybe I can drum up some counterplay on the back rank somehow if he was to move the rook. So let's play this guy. Oh no, it's checkmate. Queen f7. A new game. Okay, sure. I'll just keep losing. d4, d5, c4. Takes right here. Bishop here again. It doesn't play e5 this time. Okay, so then let's play e3. Okay, so next move should be bishop d3. And if bishop d6 happens, I'm pretty sure I might be able to play takes and play f4. takes and f4. So very strong structure where I have a stone wall set up with knight f3. e5 is completely in my control. And he can't really get in knight e4 because I have two pieces on e4. So this is a very ideal setup for white in these kind of positions. Okay, so that move is typically is going to be a waste of time because after bishop b1, a3 is coming anyway. Knight has to move anyway, from what I understand about this kind of move. Knight b5 here is also an option. But after some queen d7, I'm not really seeing my knight on b5 doing anything proactive. So let's rather play a more a move that simply just addresses the problem in the position. The very logical retreat on b1. So after a3, he moves the knight. I move the bishop back to b3 again. So in that scenario, I will have gotten in the move a3, which does help me because b4 is a square that he's going to try to occupy, whereas he has not gotten an extra move in there. So here, I think I can play just a simple could play really aggressively here too. Nah, no need to do all that. Two. Okay, let's just play simple chess again. Now's probably a good time to play a3. Kick this dude back. And then castle. Overall, I feel pretty good about this position, honestly. I feel like I've got a decent amount of positional advantage here, where I can just continue this on to the end game here. So some typical ideas here would be basically to play okay. Let's first begin with rook e1. Okay, so now how should we proceed? I'm thinking right now that 95 is probably not a bad way to proceed here. I mean, next move, I'm just gonna play like G4, G5, Queen H5. Or go for some checkmate, maybe. I think there's definitely some danger for black in this position. Can I safely coordinate the attack is a whole different question, but I can certainly try. So already there's some possibilities of some stuff here. Queen C2, for example, is a move to consider. There's always G6. There's G5. There's check. G5, he takes, I take, and then comes this kind of move. Hmm. This move Queen A4 is pretty interesting to me as well, actually, now that I think about it. Kind of looks pretty interesting because Bishop A6 is going to feel very awkward after this move. And I'm threatening D7 knight, and if he takes, he could take and play Queen C6. That's the problem, though. Yeah, it is definitely going to be a problem. He's just gonna take and then play Queen C6, and if I have to trade the queens here in this position, I mean, all my advantage is pretty much gonna vanish. The thing is the move like G5 is that it will permanently, I mean, in such a scenario, there's really no direct attack being coordinated here. So his threat also is to take and then take back, move the queen, play knight, bishop C4, knight B3, all that kind of stuff. Knight C4 is obviously in the air. So there's a lot of moves that are possible here. I'm not sure if I want to play this in a positional manner, tactical, I don't know. It seems like bishop on a6 is pretty well placed, actually. It stops bishop d3. Which is definitely a key move that I want to be able to play in this kind of position. Queen c2, he's going to play g6. Maybe then I would just play f5 or something. Maybe queen c2, g6, and I then play h4. Maybe something like that. Let's try that. I don't know. I got to make a move here. Do something. Just go all out on the attack, maybe. If he ever plays f6, knight g6 is there in play. Thing is that my rook is very uncoordinated here. I needed to play king h2 and rook g1 here very shortly. Okay, so he does go ahead and take. And I want to take with the I'll take with the f pawn. Queen e7, queen f2, knight b3, rook a2, bishop c4. Oh my gosh, just so much going on here. I don't know. After queen e7, I have to play h5 or something. But then queen is gonna come in here. Yeah, it's not gonna work. Queen has to defend, be able to defend. Man, my rook is just I could play a move like g5, but that would permanently stop any kind of attack. And in the meantime, he can immediately take advantage of this situation I have with the awkwardly placed rook on a2, a1. Wait, he really can't play knight b2. What am I calculating here? What the heck am I doing even? That only happens if I move my queen. So let's keep the queen there. Let's lock this up for a second here. This move. Still, like, how do I? Oh wow. Oh, that's getting aggressive. I gotta play b4 here first. Yeah, well, queen g2, rook, the knight immediately hops into b3 though. Queen g2, knight hops into b3. I play takes on h6. Take on h4. Complex. I'm gonna play b4 here. Oh no, but then now my knight on c3 is an issue. I don't know. Maybe I rushed that move too much. I don't know. Okay, so now this allows at least plugs up the C file for a moment, so it does allow me to play. Excuse me. It does allow me to play Queen G2, I think. The position is still so bad, I feel like, for me, just overall. I feel like my king has definitely more problems than his king now. If I can enter a rook to f6, my problems would be mostly fixed, but how do I get a rook there? Maybe rook a2? It's definitely a possibility. Rook a2, rook f2, rook f6. If I can do those three moves in a row, then I would be great here in this position. Uh-oh. There goes that knight. Okay. I'm just banking on this one sacrifice on g6, which is probably not even going to work. Like, I don't think I can even take. He can just play king h8. I don't even have anything after that. If I take on h6, he takes. I take on g6. He takes. I take with check. King h8 doesn't work in that position because his queen is on. Okay, so in this exact moment, can I play this? Okay, so rook is hanging. So can I play this? Then if queen h6, maybe I can try bishop d3. Try to pick up the bishop on a6. Ooh, that is a nice one. Wow. Okay, that's great. But now what do I do? Do I just give up? Hmm. Position is just still so bad. Probably lost. Not even sure. It seems like it's lost still for me. I probably need to retreat the bishop, which means I'll drop that pawn on h6, after which it'll be very difficult to maintain the game. But that's... Oh, I can't even move that bishop. I don't know. This is just a bad game. Now rook e3 basically means that he's threatening rook g3. So there's really nothing else to be done here. Oh wow, that move is also great. Well, maybe. Actually, I'm not sure if that move is great or not. Do that. Now there's queen h6 though. Hmm. Maybe I played that move too soon. Maybe I should have played h7 first. Shit. Oh, there's that too. It's probably gonna end the game for me here. Yeah, and now queen h6 basically. Oh wow. I guess I have to maintain this situation here. My goal is try to play queen g5 at some point. No, he takes on e3 and defends the square on g5, which is a very crucial square for me. Oh my gosh. Dang it. Losing the game now. For sure, for sure. This is a loss. That game is a loss. So yeah, that was those were definitely very solidly played games from Kevin. As you can see that they were very clean wins each game, basically. So yeah, hopefully you guys enjoyed some of those games. I will not spend time to go over them right now, but I might do that in a later video. You can analyze them and see what I could have done better in some of them. But yeah, look forward to catching you guys in my next future videos.